What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys and whether we think that they did enough to compete in the NFC. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey, Trash Talkers, it's Mike here. Over 93% of you who view our show each and every day are not subscribed to the channel. If you could hit that red subscribe button, it would help us out tremendously, and it is completely free for you guys. If you want to stay up to date with our daily content, then click that bell icon and you will be notified every time we go live. Nick and I both really appreciate you subscribing to the channel, and we can't wait to keep making more daily content for you. All right, Nick, with the draft over and free agency coming to an end, at this point, rosters are pretty much set. There's going to be a few stragglers that are still signed, but at this point, most teams have the rosters they're going to be going into camp with. And we take a look at some of these teams, and I want to focus on the Dallas Cowboys for today's video. I want to take a look at their roster head to toe and just ask the question, do you think that they have done enough this offseason to compete in the NFC?
I don't. I don't think that the Cowboys made enough moves in the free agency. I don't believe that they acquired the talent necessary in the draft to become a team that not only competes in their division, but competes in the NFC. I believe that currently they stand third in their division behind the Washington football team and the New York Giants. And I think that their defense is still as porous as it was when we first started this offseason. Yes, you upgraded at linebacker, but was linebacker really an issue? I mean, when you have Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith both healthy, they're as good as you can get pretty much in the NFL. These two are tackle machines. They run around the field with the stamina of anybody you can think of. They are at the top when they are healthy. And so you go out and get Micah Parsons, who is a guy who definitely stays healthy and will do exactly what they do, tackle everybody and run around the field all the time. And you also get Jabril Cox, who does that, but to a lesser extent. That's great and all, but your secondary is beyond porous. You go get Keanu O'Neal and then convert him to linebacker. You draft Kelvin Josheph and say he's good enough to be your CB2, and that Trayvon Diggs, after 1 year, is good enough to be your CB1, and that your defensive line is strong enough to compete, even though they were one of the worst at getting pressure and sacks on the quarterback last year. There is a lot to be desired on this defense. And when you look at the Washington football team defense, they're one of the strongest in the league. And you look at their offense, and that they got stronger on offense. They got a quarterback. They got plenty of weapons for that quarterback. The Giants got all the receiver help you could possibly want, and they fixed up their secondary, got a couple defensive linemen in the draft. These teams knew their needs. They filled their needs, and then some. And the Cowboys still have plenty of holes. I just don't see them being a really competitive team with this division next season.
Yeah, I think we should change the name. Instead of it saying Nick, it should just say Hater. Okay, so I'm fine with that. So we'll just call you Hater from now on. So Hater, I don't agree with anything that you just said, and let me explain. The biggest offseason acquisition that the Dallas Cowboys made was health. I mean, to be frank, they missed 4 out of 5 offensive linemen from last year. Dak Prescott, arguably a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, was not there last year. Ezekiel Elliott was running for his life and couldn't find a hold to save it. And then on top of that, you talked about how porous the defense was. Well, Leighton Vander Esch couldn't stay healthy, and that's why they decided not to pick up his 5th-year option. They drafted Micah Parsons, who, in your words, is the better version of Luke Kuechly. So obviously any defense could utilize a star like that. On top of the fact you talk about Trayvon Diggs, yeah, he showed that he could be a CB1 easily. Then you talk about Kelvin Joseph. Well, you know what? That's what the draft is for. All these rookies have to prove it, but Kelvin Joseph and Nahshon Wright, they're going to look really good. Don't forget Jordan Lewis is still there, and Jordan Lewis has done a really good job being a number 3 corner for this team. So they have to figure out the number 2 and the number 4 cornerback position. Between Nahshon Wright and Kelvin Joseph, I think they'll be able to figure it out just fine. The safety position's a little concerning to me, but I think they'll figure that out. The linebacker position, the addition of Dan Quinn as your defensive coordinator. Again, I know you hate him, so again, we'll continue calling you hater. Dan Quinn is a very, very talented defensive coordinator. What he did in Seattle, what he did with the Legion of Boom, taking those players and making what he made of that, he brought that to Atlanta for the first few years at least, and I believe he still has that in him. Now he's not managing an entire roster. He's not working with the players on the offensive side of the ball. He can focus strictly on defense, which is his strong suit, and he's going to do exactly that. He's going to work with the defensive players and get the absolute best out of them. He knows exactly what he's doing. So when you talk about all of these offseason additions, you have to talk about getting Dan Quinn in there. And I know you don't trust a Mike McCarthy led Cowboys team. I know that you have said that on multiple occasions. I trust the Dan Quinn led defense. I do. And I believe at this point in time that he's going to get the most out of these guys. DeMarcus Lawrence is not going to have the same season that he had last year. He is not going to be able to stroll his way into AT&T Stadium every single week and just kind of show up and go through the motions. He's going to get his ass worked, and I believe that under Dan Quinn, you're going to see one of the best pass rushers in the NFL.
I'm not a fan of Dan Quinn. You got that right. I'm not a fan of Mike McCarthy. I believe that Dan Quinn got lucky in Seattle. I think that he lucked into Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner. You name everybody in the Legion of Boom. He got lucky with those guys. And then when he goes to Atlanta and works with that defense, they start out hot, but then they start to fade and he can't fix that defense. I mean, if he's such a defensive genius, why did he get fired and that defense come to life mid-season? That doesn't make any sense. I don't think that Dan Quinn is going to be able to turn around this defense in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. He's not the guy. He is not somebody that has what it takes to groom guys with a little bit of upside. He needs guys with full upside who are in the prime of their careers, who are going to be studs no matter who coaches them. Mike McCarthy is a guy who was good because he had Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and then he doesn't get a job after that, takes a year off, comes back, and even when he has Dak Prescott in those first few weeks, he's absolutely abysmal. The offense can't get going, the defense is extremely porous. They can score points, but they're still not winning football games. I just don't think that these coaches are what the Cowboys need. They need to get guys like Urban Meyer. They need to get some guys with a history of winning. They need to change the culture, and these guys are not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm listening to you, hater, but at this point in time, I just disagree with you wholeheartedly. In fact, I think that the Dallas Cowboys are the second best team in this division. I think they have leapfrogged the Washington football team because the Washington football team, you can't sell me a bag of potatoes and tell me that they're onions. You're just not going to do it. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not an upgrade at the quarterback position. He's just not. He is more of the same when you had Alex Smith there last year. He's going to throw more interceptions. He may throw more touchdowns. That's fantastic. But you got Curtis Samuel. That's cool and all. I don't think they did all that much in Washington to truly improve outside of getting one wide receiver and a quarterback that's pushing 40. Really, what are we talking about here? And New York, who knows what's happening with Daniel Jones? He has all the weapons in the world. We still don't know if he's the real deal or not. This is the prove it year. He may very well flop like a fish on land, and then we have no idea what's happening with the New York Giants. So the Dallas Cowboys are in a situation where they have more proven players on their roster than pretty much everyone else, and they have a chance to actually take it over if they want to, if they can get the pieces in order and get them right. I It's going to be very tough for them. It's not an easy road for them, but I do believe they have the pieces to compete. And that was the original question. Can they compete in the NFC? My answer is yes.
I don't even believe they can compete in their own division. So I'm going to say no, they can't compete in the rest of the NFC. You put them in any other division in the NFL, whatever conference you want, they are the worst. They are at the bottom. They are worse than the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are worse than the Cincinnati Bengals. They are not going to compete with these other teams. The only team they're better than is the Philadelphia Eagles, and luckily they're both in the same conference, so the Cowboys aren't going to get a lot of hate. So it's on these coaches to really take the talent that you say is there and make it into what it needs to be, because this is America's team after all. They need to behave like one. They need to behave like they are the guys. They are the team. And the guys that are in that culture are not going to change it. They're not going to make it a winning culture. This is not the team that you want to be a part of.
Yeah. Again, this is why we call you hater. So I'm okay with that. But at this point in time, I just wholeheartedly disagree with you. And I'm willing to bet 2 cases on this. You know what? Make it 3 cases of Diet Coke that we are going to absolutely see the Dallas Cowboys not only compete, but make the playoffs over the Washington football team.
I'll
I'm,
raise
I'm,
you one. I'll bet that the Eagles have a better record by the end of the year than the Dallas
I'll,
Cowboys.
I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet in a heartbeat. Done. Consider it done. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.